ready to step into someone else's world for a day. Because today's deep dive, we're hanging out with Vishaka Kavle.
Oh, cool. A photographer, right?
Yeah, a wedding photographer based in San Diego. We're checking out her website, her blog, the whole deal.
I'm in. I always love seeing how artists capture these big moments.
Totally. And I think even if you're not, planning a wedding right now, there's something here for everyone, like finding beauty in the everyday.
Absolutely. And honestly, just getting a glimpse into her process, I bet we can all learn a thing or two.
For sure. So, okay, first off, her website. Right off the bat, her About page kind of surprised me. She splits her time between San Diego and New York City.
Wow, bi-coastal.
Right, but then she's like, also down for destination weddings.
Well, yeah, if you're already doing both coasts, might as well go global, right? Shows she's up for anything.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of going above and beyond, she calls herself a one-woman show, which I thought was interesting.
Hmm. What do you think that means, like practically?
I'm wondering that too.
I mean, it makes me think she's super hands-on,
Mm-hmm.
not just showing up with the camera.
Yeah, like really invested.
Exactly. From start to finish, she's there for all of it.
Which would be important for weddings. Like, you'd want someone who's, present.
Totally. And it's funny, she even mentions her family, her husband, her daughter.
Oh, yeah, she does.
You can tell that's a huge part of her life.
And she even ties that back to her photography.
How so?
Like, she says it influences her work, Those values of, like, love, connection, she brings that to the wedding.
Oh, I see, I see. That's really sweet, actually. So it's not just a job.
Right. Okay, but, T, now for the part that really got me curious, her favorite things. She's really into exploring new coffee shops and reading, like, tons of fiction, especially romantic and historical novels.
Okay, so on the surface, not really related to photography.
Right, that's what I thought, but how do you think those interests, like, connect back to her work?
That's interesting. Well, those coffee shop explorations, I bet that's training her eye without her even realizing it.
What do you mean?
Think about it. You go to a new place, you're taking it all in, the light, the way things are arranged, the people.
The details.
Exactly. And those details, that's what a photographer captures.
That's a great point. And what about the books? I feel like those have to play a role too.
Totally. Romantic novels, historical fiction. It's all about mood, setting, capturing a moment in time. Right.
Kind of like a wedding when you think about it.
Exactly. She's probably soaking up inspiration without even realizing it.
It's funny how, like, our outside passions can actually make us better at our jobs,
Totally. It's all connected.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, remember that blog post, the wedding she shot at the Westin Carlsbad?
Oh, yeah, dream location.
Right. Okay, so she starts her day at the Ocean Pearl Spa,
Yeah.
where the bridal party's getting ready.
Oh, nice. Soaking in that pre-wedding bliss.
And she talks about how she's drawn to these, like, quiet moments before the ceremony.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
It's like a different side of the day, right?
Yeah, totally. Instead of just the, like, big, loud excitement.
It's the anticipation. And it reminded me of how she talked about those cafes.
The details?
Yeah, but also just, like, noticing the mood, the feeling of a place.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so she's got that eye for those little moments.
Exactly. And then after the spa, she's scouting locations around the resort for the photos.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting visually, I bet.
Totally. And you can tell she's thinking like an artist, not just a photographer.
How so?
She's talking about light, composition, how to use the background to tell a story.
That's cool. So it's more than just everyone say cheese.
Right. She even mentions using natural light as much as possible. Have you ever noticed how much of a difference that makes in photos?
Oh, huge. Natural light just makes everything better.
Right. More vibrant, more real somehow.
Totally. And I guess that makes sense with weddings, because it's all about capturing real emotions.
Speaking of which, can you imagine the pressure of photographing the ceremony itself?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like those vows, the first kiss. No pressure or anything.
Right, the Westin has those gorgeous outdoor spaces for it too. The ocean blue lawn, the Pacific lawn.
Beautiful. But yeah, talk about a once-in-a-lifetime moment.
Totally. And it made me think, going back to that one-woman show thing,
Yeah.
do you think that helps her connect with the couple more?
Maybe. Like, because it's just her, she can be more present, more in tune with their energy.
Right. It's not just a job, it's like a collaboration almost.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of mind-blowing how much work goes into those picture-perfect wedding photos,
Right. It's easy to forget when you're just scrolling through Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, totally. Each one has a whole story behind it. Speaking of, the blog goes on to talk about the reception, all those different spaces at the Westin, ballrooms, courtyards. Vishaka has to, like, adapt her style for each one.
Makes sense. You'd want a different vibe for the dance floor versus, like, a quiet toast.
Oh, for sure. And here's a detail I loved. She mentions that even the food is a beautiful subject for her.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Right. Like she finds the artistry even there. Reminds me of the coffee shop thing.
It's true. Finding beauty in unexpected places. Maybe
Right.
that's something we can all do more of.
Totally. Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Vishaka's world, any big takeaways stand out to you?
Hmm. Well, practically speaking, that one-woman show thing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Building those relationships, being so present for the client,
Yeah.
valuable no matter what you do.
Absolutely. Not just showing up, but like really being there and then on a deeper level.
I just love that message of finding beauty in the everyday,
Mm.
those small moments.
It's like she's reminding us to appreciate what's right in front of us.
Exactly.
This has been so eye-opening. Thanks for exploring with me.